Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us for today's live Hangout on Air to help you get started with AdWords. My name is Erica and I'm on the Google AdWords team here in Mountain View, California at Google. Very excited that you're joining us today so that we can help you get started with AdWords and really set up your account for success. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Just so you know, we will be taking live questions throughout today's presentation. So be sure to submit those questions both on the community page or through the Q&A app here on the live stream. Looking forward to answering your questions and making this as helpful as possible. So let's jump right into today's agenda. So today we're going to be covering, just a quick reminder that this is the live event. And again, you can post those questions in the community or in the chat box here. So today's agenda, we're going to be starting with how to really structure your account for success. So getting things off on the right foot. We're then going to focus on what key metrics you should pay attention to in your account and how you can use those metrics to improve your performance. We're also going to be talking about how to select quality keywords and write relevant ads, two of the most important things when it comes to AdWords, as well as tools in the account that can help us improve our performance. And then very importantly, we want to end on the note of tracking business goals success. Different businesses have different goals, and so we want to make sure that we are showing you what tools you can use in AdWords to help reach whatever your goals may be. So we're going to start with structuring your account for success. So here we have an overview of what your account structure may look like. Within your AdWords account, you can create multiple campaigns. And at this campaign level, that's where you're indicating your budget and your settings, things like location targeting, for example. So within those campaigns, that's where you have ad groups. And you can think of ad groups as essentially buckets for where your ads and keywords are housed. So let's take a look at an example account. This is a furniture store. And for this particular business, they have two locations, an uptown store and a downtown store. And for those stores, they do want to slightly alter their ads and what they have to offer. So within this account, we would want to create two campaigns, one for each store. The reason being that the location targeting is slightly different for each account, for each campaign. So we're going to create two different campaigns, and then within those campaigns, we're going to create an ad group for every type of product that they sell. This is really, really key when it comes to really getting that account structure right from the get-go. You want to make sure that each ad group is a category of searches that someone could make. So for example, here in the downtown store, they sell tables and beds. We want to make sure that we have tables and beds in separate ad groups so that if someone searches for a table and they match to a keyword in the tables ad group, we're going to show them an ad that says tables in it. Whereas if you put all of your keywords and all of your ads in one ad group, then potentially for a keyword about tables, a user could see an ad about beds. So really making sure that we structure those ad groups and separate things out as much as possible. That's really the key to success when it comes to account structure. So don't hesitate to create more ad groups than you may need. Also think about the different variations of how people search for things. For example, if you are a mosquito exterminator, you may want to create an ad group for mosquito extermination keywords and ads that say mosquito extermination. But some people also refer to that as mosquito control. So you may want to create a control ad group that's mosquito control in the keywords and mosquito control in the ads. So don't just think about maybe the different products that you have or the different services, but also the different ways that people are searching for what your business provides. So try to separate those out into as many ad groups as you can. That way, all of the keywords and the ads within the ad group are very, very relevant to one another. Relevance is a really big buzzword here at AdWords, so be sure to keep things as relevant as you can. So next, let's talk about how keywords work, how ads work, and really how everything comes together. So your keywords are your words or phrases that you choose, that you put in your account that can trigger your ad to show on search as well as other sites. So if you have a keyword for mosquito control and I'm someone who makes a search for mosquito control, then those two would be a match, and that search would match to my keyword in my account and show an ad that's in the same ad group as the keyword that was triggered. Next, we have bids. So at the keyword level, you can set bids, which means the most you're willing to pay for a click for a search that triggers that particular keyword. Generally, what you'll find is that some of your keywords are going to be very high performers. They're going to be the ones that get a lot of the traffic and perform very well for you. And those are the ones that you may want to bid more aggressively for. Whereas some of the keywords that are that don't get as much traffic or maybe aren't as successful for you that you still want to keep but maybe just don't get you as many results, those are the ones you can maybe bid less aggressively. So keep in mind that you can set your bids for your keywords in the Keywords tab of your account. And again, it's the final maximum cost per click bid that you're setting, but something to keep in mind is that the final amount you charge is generally less than your maximum cost per click bid. So whatever you indicate in that section, know that that's the most you're willing to pay, but generally you'll pay less than that in my experience per click. So just keep that in mind as you're setting those bids. So next, let's take a look at what this looks like in the AdWords interface. So here in the AdWords interface, we are in the Keywords tab, and you can see on the left-hand side that we have two campaigns, the Uptown store and the Downtown store. And then within those campaigns, we have the different ad groups for the different products that we sell. So armchairs and couches for the Uptown store, tables and beds for the Downtown store. Now you can click into either campaign or each specific ad group and look at any of these tabs that we have listed going across the top of the screen. Next to each keyword in the table, there's a max CPC column, and that's where you can change the bid for a particular keyword. So next, let's jump forward and talk about key metrics to pay attention to in the account to know how things are performing. So the first metric is impressions, and this is simply the number of times your ad appears in a search result. And if you change the date range in the upper right-hand corner, you'll be able to see what the number of impressions and clicks are for that particular date range. Along the same lines as impressions, clicks is when, as it sounds, someone clicks on your ad and is directed to your website. And then when we do the division of those two things, when we have the number of clicks divided by the total number of impressions, that gives us a click-through rate, which is a great way to know how your ad is performing. So of the 100 people who saw my ad, maybe 10 of them clicked. That would be a 10% click-through rate, which is very, very high. Generally, a good benchmark is about 1% for a keyword or ad to be considered healthy. So here's what those columns look like in the interface. Next to your maximum cost per click, you have the number of clicks, impressions, and then the click-through rate that is a calculation of those two metrics for every keyword. So you can really get a sense of what people are searching and what keywords are working well, which keywords have a lot of clicks, a lot of impressions, a high click-through rate, and maybe which ones are struggling. So next, let's jump on and move forward with quality keywords. So here are some quality keywords, and we want to talk about first what to avoid when it comes to keywords. When it comes to keywords, you may think that a good keyword for, let's say you're a bakery, is the word cake. But the reason why that may not be a good keyword is because someone who's searching for cake recipes could see your ad if you had a keyword just for cake. Similarly, with a flower shop, you may think that flowers is a good keyword because that's the product that you sell. But really, someone could search flower girl dress and potentially see your ad. And similar with the third example with yoga for a yoga studio. Instead, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're implementing these best practices. Most keywords are successful if they are at least 2 words in length. The reason being that they're slightly more specific to what people are actually searching. So for example, if you're a bakery, rather than just having the keyword cake, which could pull up lots of different things, custom cake would be a much better keyword because if someone's searching for a custom cake, they're likely looking for a bakery that they can purchase this custom cake from. Similarly with a flower shop, if you had flower as a keyword, then lots of different things could turn up that are about flowers. But if you have flower delivery as a keyword, then someone who's searching for, let's say, Valentine's flower delivery is most likely looking for a flower shop who can deliver flowers for them on Valentine's Day. And similarly with yoga studio. Yoga class is a much better keyword because someone who includes the term yoga class in their search is most likely looking to take a class and find a new yoga studio. So keep in mind that the best thing you can do when you're setting up your keywords is to think of the possible searches you would make if you were looking for your business and add those phrases as keywords. So next, let's talk about match types. Match types you can think of as the bridge between what someone is searching and what keyword you have in your account. So how closely do they have to match in order for your ad to show? So we'll start off with broad match. Broad match is the most broad of the match types, as it sounds, and it includes things like misspellings, synonyms, related searches, and other relevant variations. So if I had a keyword in my account called women's hats, then a search that I could potentially show up for would be buy ladies hats. This is because women's and ladies are synonyms. It's okay that there are more than one extra words in the search text, broad match is going to pick up all of these related searches and variations. So it's very broad. Slightly more specific is broad match modifier. And this match type is when you include a plus sign before each word of the phrase, which indicates that the plus sign term needs to be in the search in order for your ad to appear. So for example, plus women's plus hats, a search you could show up for would be hats for women. But let's say that you had plus women's plus hats and someone searched by ladies hats. Because ladies is in the search query, your ad may not appear. So this is slightly more specific. Next is phrase match. This is getting even more specific. And this is when you put quotation marks around the keyword. And what that means is that that phrase needs to be included in the search text or a close variation of that phrase. And then the most specific match type is exact match, which means that an exact term and close variations of that exact term must be in the search text. So those are some of the match types that you have to offer. So far we've covered how you want to structure your account. You want to make sure that you have lots of ad groups that are really keeping everything specific so that the ads and keywords are relevant to one another. Then we've talked about keywords best practices to make sure that you're creating keywords that are going to drive the right results for you. So next, let's go ahead and jump in and see if we have any questions coming in. All right, it looks like we have a question coming in from Kate, and she's asking, how do I know if I've created enough ad groups? And that's a great question, Kate. So when you're thinking about, is this good? And we'll talk about this a bit later, but there actually is a metric that kind of calculates essentially how relevant are my ads and my keywords to one another. And it's something called quality score. So we'll talk about it a bit later, but essentially you can view the quality score for every keyword you have in your account. So if you add this quality score column, if you go to add columns and select attributes on the left, it'll be one of the metrics that you can add there. And you can see the quality score for every keyword. So for the keywords with a quality score of say 6 and above, then you're doing pretty good. Those keywords probably belong in the ad group they're in. But for keywords that have a lower quality score, those are the ones you want to consider moving into their own ad groups, just to make sure that those keywords are super relevant to the ads that you're associating with them in the same ad group. So keep that in mind. Use that quality score as a proxy for how successful or how relevant your ads and keywords are to one another. And that'll help you determine if you've already have an account created and have a campaign ready to go, maybe some things that you should move around before you let it serve. So that's a great question, Kate. So we'll go ahead and move forward with the deck and keep those questions coming through the live Q&A. Happy to answer as many as you may have. So let's go ahead and continue with the deck. So next we're going to talk about ads. We've talked about structure, we've talked about those key metrics to look at in your account, we've talked about keyword strategy, and now we're going to cover the ads, the bread and butter of AdWords. So what are the components of an ad? Let's start with that. First is your headline, and this gives you the most important information, the thing that's going to draw the user in and make them want to click on your ad. Underneath that, you have 2 description lines of text where you can describe your product and services, maybe even talk about some things that make your business unique or some special offers that you have that may entice someone to click. And then lastly, you have the display URL and the final URL. For most ads, these 2 things are the same. So a display URL is what the user sees, and then the final URL is the actual page that they land on. We'll talk about how you can adjust your final URL to improve your quality score. But this is just an overview of what the components of an ad are. So next, let's talk about how to write relevant ads. Again, relevant is that very key buzzword that we have here on the AdWords team. So things to avoid. This ad is belonging in the armchair ad group. So something to avoid with the headline is really broad headlines. For example, high quality furniture. If I'm making a search that has the term armchair in it, which is I am because that's in the armchair ad group, then if I see an ad for high quality furniture, that's very vague, and I don't necessarily know that this business even has armchairs. Similarly with the description line, wide selection of furniture, that doesn't give me a whole lot of information. I'm specifically looking for armchairs here, so maybe that's a little bit broad. And then lastly, with the final URL, I'm sending them to my home page currently. But if you were to send them specifically to the armchairs page, that's a much better user experience, and it may help boost your quality score. So let's take a look at how we can fix this kind of vague ad and turn it into something that will probably yield better results. So here we have a few changes made. The headline is specific to the armchairs ad group. And in the first description line, we have a wide selection of fabrics, which indicates that specifically for armchairs, there are a lot of options that you have. And then lastly, we've updated the URL so that we're taking the user directly to the armchairs page of the site. So those 3 changes drastically improve that ad. So here's an example of how that would go from start to finish. For example, a user would search in my location, leather armchair. The keyword that would match to in my armchairs ad group is plus leather, plus arm, plus chair. So using that broad match modifier to make sure that all 3 of those terms are in the search. And the ad that the user would see is high quality armchairs, wide selection of fabrics, traditional and modern styles. And if I click that ad, it'll go directly to the armchairs page of the website. So that gives you a sense of what the user flow is like and why you want to make these informed changes to your account to make things as specific as possible so that your user is more likely to click. Next, and this is a quick tip, we want to make sure that we have at least 2 ads per ad group. The reason being that if you only have 1 ad in the ad group, then you don't know if it could be improved. Whereas if you have 2 ads in the ad group and let them both serve, then you can get a sense of which ad text is resonating more with your audience, which one is performing better, using the clicks, impressions, and click-through rate columns as a proxy for how well it's performing. The second tip is to make sure that you're considering mobile customers. For the first time, more searches happened on mobile than on desktop, so you want to make sure you're not missing out on those potential customers. So using mobile, you can really target customers who are on mobile with a variation of your ad text. So when you're creating your ad, you have an option to check the mobile box. And what that does is it tells AdWords that you want this ad to show on mobile devices specifically. So for example, if for mobile users you wanted to provide a promotional code, then you would create the ad on the right and you would check that mobile box to indicate that for mobile users, that's the ad you want to show. So it'll take that preference into consideration when serving your ads. So next, we're going to talk about some tools you can use to really improve your AdWords performance. The first is quality score, and we touched on this a little bit earlier with Kate's question, but quality score is an estimate of the quality of your ads and the landing pages that are triggered by that keyword. So it ranges from 1 to 10, and again, you can see that score if you add the quality score column in your account. And you can use this as a measure of how successful your account structure currently is, and possibly some changes that you can make. So here are the components of quality score. We have expected click-through rate. So in general, how successful is this keyword? In historical data, has it performed really well? Have people been clicking on it and finding it a good ad for that particular keyword? Second is ad relevance. So this is how relevant is your keyword to the ad itself? Things like including the keyword in the ad text are crucial for this particular part of quality score. And then lastly, we have landing page experience. And this ties back to using a specific final URL for your ads, because we want to make sure that we're sending the user to the most relevant landing page possible. So keep that in mind as you're keeping quality score in mind and structuring your account. Next, let's talk about ad rank, because quality score and ad rank go hand in hand. Ad rank determines what ads will appear and in what order on the page. And the 2 things that are taken into account to determine which ad appears at the top of the page, which one appears second, third, and so on, are 2 components: your maximum cost per click bid and your quality score. So again, quality score is important not just to make sure you're showing the right ads to the right users, but it also can help you show up higher on the page. So something to keep in mind when it comes to AdWords is that you do have 2 options in terms of where your ads actually show online. So generally when we think of AdWords, we of course think of the search network, so showing your ads on Google search. But you do have another option called the Google Display Network. And this means that you can show ads on Google-owned properties as well as the millions of websites that are part of the Google Display Network. So keep that in mind depending on what your business goals are. If your business goal is brand awareness, or perhaps you are a business that is incredibly visual, then perhaps an image ad on the display network would be a great supplement to your search campaign. So keep those 2 networks in mind as you think about your business goals and what you really want to achieve with AdWords. Another tool that you should definitely take advantage of within AdWords is negative keywords. And these help prevent your ad from being triggered by a certain word or phrase. So a negative keyword essentially tells Google not to show your ad for a search if it includes that phrase. So for example, let's walk through this. My business is a high-end watch store, and I have a keyword in my account for gold watch because that's a product that I sell. But if a user typed in cheap gold watch, then my ad could appear because it would match to my gold watch keyword. But I don't want that to appear because I don't want my business as a high-end watch store to be associated with the word cheap. So I'm going to add a negative keyword for the word cheap so that in the future, this keyword or this search phrase would not actually trigger my ad to appear. So you can add negative keywords for a few different types of things. You can add them for adjectives that you don't want to be related to, for example, cheap for my high-end watch store business. Or you can do them for if you only sell a particular part of a product. So let's say that I'm a hat store, but I don't sell baseball hats. Then I would want to create a negative keyword for the word baseball, just to ensure that I don't show up for any searches that include baseball caps. And then another helpful tool within AdWords is the search terms report. And this can give you great ideas for negative keywords because it shows you what search queries people have made that have triggered your ad to appear. So maybe you create your account and you only add a few negative keywords, and maybe then you check the search terms result and see that actually your ad appeared for a few other search queries that aren't super relevant. You can add negative keywords for those terms to make sure that you're constantly making sure that your account is performing well and that you're only showing up for very, very relevant searches. So let's do a quick review of account structure and a few concepts that we've discussed today. Within your AdWords account, you can create multiple campaigns based on how you want to budget things and things like location targeting. Something to keep in mind is that all of the ad groups within a campaign will share the campaign's budget. So if you have a particular ad group that is really high priority and you want to make sure it serves frequently, then you may want to put it in its own campaign with its own budget, just to ensure that you have a lot of control over how much is being spent on each ad group. Within each ad group, you have those ads and keywords that we want to be highly relevant to one another to make sure that we're showing users the most relevant ad for their search query and that we can actually bid smarter and maybe a little bit less because our quality scores are higher. So that's something to keep in mind. So next, let's go ahead and answer some of the questions coming in live. And thank you all so much for being so engaged. So let me take a look here. So it looks like coming in from Woot, we have a question. As someone who's more experienced in Facebook ads, my question would be, is it better to use only one keyword per ad as it is on Facebook? And does that play a role in keywords in AdWords or not? It's a great question. So when it comes to keywords in AdWords, you want to make sure that you are going for quality over quantity. But that being said, you probably want more than one keyword. So generally, we recommend between 5 and 15 keywords per ad group. And you want to make sure that you're going for quality over quantity. So generally, when you think about searching on Google, a potential customer who's looking for your business, you generally think of, let's say, the top 5 phrases that they would search in order to find your business. So if my house is infested with ants and I'm looking for pest control, the first thing I would probably search would be pest control. But some users may search for, ant control specifically, or lots of different variations. And generally, the first things that come to mind are the keywords that are probably going to get you the best results. So with AdWords, you definitely want more than one keyword, but that being said, you don't want to necessarily add 100 keywords of every single variation. You want to be smart using those match types that we talked about earlier. So consider having between 5 and 15 keywords per ad group, and you can always pause or add them later, but start out with the things that make the most sense to you. And that's generally the best rule of thumb. Great question. So let's go ahead and continue on with the deck. So next, we're going to talk about tracking business goals success. So when it comes to AdWords, different businesses have very different goals. Some are interested in driving phone calls, some are interested in driving purchases on their website, some in-store visits, and we'll talk about some of those later. But the reason why it's important to think about your business goals is because you want to make sure that AdWords is working for you. So today we're going to cover some related concepts called return on investment and conversions in AdWords. So what are conversions? Conversions are the things that people do after they visit your website. So after someone clicks on your ad, let's say you're an e-commerce business and you sell clothes online. It's great if you get clicks on your ads that go to your website. You're getting traffic to the site. But what really matters for that particular business is a purchase, a sale. So what conversions do is they help you measure how successful are your ads in getting users to complete these desired actions, to make a purchase, to fill out a form, things like that. So by measuring conversions, you can really see how many of these users who are clicking on your ads actually become customers. And AdWords conversion tracking is a free tool that helps you measure this in your AdWords account. It can also help you determine what parts of your account are really delivering these conversions to make sure that you're only allocating your budget towards parts of the campaign that are driving sales or form submissions or calls or whatever your goal may be. So why do conversions matter? Conversions matter not only so you know how successful your AdWords account is, but also to make sure that you're getting your return on investment that you want. When it comes to return on investment, it's the most important measurement for a business because it makes sure that for every dollar you put into AdWords, we want to make sure that you're getting more than $1 back in business revenue. So you can easily calculate your return on investment with conversion tracking because you know how many people are submitting a form or making a purchase, and you know how much those clicks cost. So with conversions, again, you can spend your budget more wisely because you know what parts of your campaign are driving these desired actions, and you can make sure that your ads and keywords are aligned with your business goals. So let's jump into one of the most common goals that a lot of businesses want to track, which is phone calls. You can easily set this up for free in your AdWords account. You can create a call extension in the Add Extensions tab of your account, and you can set up a Google forwarding number, and this allows us to track the calls that are coming as a direct result of your ad. Now, when you're setting this up, it's super simple to set up in the account, and from a user experience, they simply click the number and call your business. But from your end, you're actually able to see that data in the account and understand which keywords or ads or ad groups are really driving those phone calls. If you have any questions about how to set this up, on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/AdWordsHelp, we have so many videos that teach you step-by-step implementation how to set something up. So simply go to the AdWords Help YouTube channel if you need any help setting this up, and we have a great video of how to set up a call extension, how to set up a lot of other extensions as well. So next, let's see if we have any more questions coming in. Let's see here. All right, we have a question coming in from Kathleen, and she's asking, how do I know if the display network is right for me? It's a great question, Kathleen. So the display network is generally best for brand awareness. So if you're trying to get your brand out there, you want potential customers to know that your business exists and you want them to visit your site, then the display network is a great option. Because what you can do with the display network is target different types of websites all across the internet. So let's say that you're an e-retailer and you really want to get your business off the ground. You want these potential customers to come to your site, make a purchase. What you could do with the display network campaign is target your ads to appear on fashion blogs and other clothing websites that host ads and actually show your ads there. An additional benefit of the display network is that you can use image ads. So you can really show the user what kind of clothes you offer on your site and make sure that they are getting the full brand identity that you're putting out there. Another great thing about the display network is oftentimes you'll get what are called free impressions, because if someone sees your ad, you don't pay for it. You only pay if someone clicks. So with the display network, you tend to get a lot of impressions and you get a lot of people seeing your ad, but you're not necessarily paying for every single one because you're only paying if they decide to click on the ad and go to your website. So that's a really great option if you're trying to get brand awareness. Similarly, if you want to host ads on specific websites, the display network is great for that because you can actually indicate what websites you want your ads to appear on, and they can appear there with just a quick setting up targeting and setting the bid. It's a great question, and if you have any questions about display targeting, do check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/AdWordsHelp, as well as our AdWords Help Center. It has everything you could possibly need to set up a display campaign. So great question, Kathleen. Glad we could take care of that. So let's continue on. So we want to do a quick review here of today's learnings. And the first is just a quick review of account structure and really getting your account set up for success. So we want to make sure that every account has at least 2 ad groups. Again, separating things out into as many specific categories as you can. And then within those ad groups, you want to make sure you have at least 2 ads. Again, to make sure that you're really optimizing that ad text and doing the best you can to write relevant ads. Within those ad groups, you also want to have at least 5 quality keywords. Again, quality over quantity when it comes to keywords. And at least 5 quality negative keywords to make sure that we're proactively ensuring that you're not showing ads for anything that's irrelevant to your business. And then lastly, set up conversion tracking so that you can really track your business goals and understand your return on investment with AdWords. So that's a quick review of today and a little checklist for you of things that you want to take care of. Now again, for everything here, You can check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/AdWordsHelp. We have videos about help to set up conversion tracking, to set up a call extension, to add negative keywords. Everything you can think of is there, as well as our AdWords Help Center is a fantastic resource. And if you have any questions, do feel free to check out the AdWords community as well, where advertisers and top contributors are consistently asking and answering each other's questions to really help you get the most out of AdWords. So again, here are some of those resources that we have at your disposal. You can give us a call at 1-866-2-Google. You can send us an email, talk to us on social media. We have the AdWords community where you can post a question, as well as the Help Center and a chat option as well to speak with a specialist on our team like me. So if you chat in, call in, or email in, you may be working directly with me, which would be fantastic. So those are the different resources that you have at your disposal as you're getting started with AdWords. And something to keep in mind is that this deck, today's session will be on our YouTube channel as well. So feel free to check it out there and review it if you missed anything or just want a quick recap. So thank you all so much for tuning in. I'm so glad that we could take care of this today and really help you get started with AdWords and set up your account for success. So if you do have any questions, feel free to follow up with some of those resources that I mentioned. Take advantage of the YouTube channel and the community. And we're glad that you got started with AdWords today. We're here to help you and support you as you get started. So don't hesitate to reach out and have a great rest of your day.